this is the Southern Girl, Shantae Levette, and I'm here to do the second phase of my mini kitchen makeover, and that's installing the backsplash. First things first, here's what you'll need. You also want to go ahead and lay out your tile so that you'll know how many tiles that you'll need, and to make sure that you have enough supplies. I'm using a polished stone that has a staggered brick pattern, and it's already on the mesh backing. So it's just interlocking together. Since this tile does not fit all the way to the top, I had to make some additional cuts, and these cuts will actually be at the top. You want to have a full tile at the bottom because up here is a little harder to see. So I've already pre-cut some of my tiles, and I'll show you how I cut these tiles. They have a little thickness to them, so I actually had to score them on the front and on the back, use my saw, and then snap them. I did use a tile cutter versus a wet saw. Now if you're proficient with the wet saw, I say use it. It'll probably go a lot faster, but since I've never used one, this is my first time, I just did it by hand. Pre-established how I want my tiles to lay out. I have a 3/16 trowel because, you know, my tiles are not big, so you don't need one with a lot of teeth. I feel more comfortable putting the mortar on the back using my hand, my spackle knife, and I'll go ahead and put some up, and then I'll trowel afterwards. It's good to have a wet rag handy. If you have a small area that your trowel cannot reach, you can take your spackle knife, get some of your mortar, just wipe it on the back. Then take your trowel and just scrape that excess off like you would have done if it was on the wall. And it's called back buttering. And stick it in place. This is my handy dandy flat screwdriver. If I see my tiles are not positioned or they look a little crooked, you can go in here and press them in and get any additional mortar that may be peeking through from in between the lines, the spaces. So this is day 2 of my backsplash project. I decided to work on this longer wall today, and I'm doing it a little different simply because I know I've heard the best way to go ahead is try to find your center point on your wall and work out so that your cuts will be even. But since I'm working with the mosaic, the outside corner is most important to me because that's what most people will notice. So I'm actually going to line my backsplash up with the edge of the countertop. See that? and then fill in the cuts so that it'll be a nice half cut here. The other end actually deads in into a wall, so I'll have to probably make some additional cuts there like I did on the other side, but aesthetically I think this will be better to look at, it more pleasing and less noticeable. And of course, a very difficult area to work with is behind your stove. I may have to pull my stove out a little bit more, but I did use a long level that reaches all the way across to mark a line with a pencil, just so that I know that I'm lining up at the bottom at this. So this is day 3 of phase 2 of my mini kitchen makeover. Today I'm actually going to grout the backsplash, but let me show you some of the things that I learned along the way. Cuts. And I showed you how to cut tile with the tile cutter and the nippers. But the next time that I take on a project, trust me, I'm going to rent a wet saw and try my hands at the wet saw. I don't think I did too bad, but let me tell you, my hand is tired. My tile was slightly thicker than the normal backsplash tile. And when I got behind my stove, which I suggest definitely pulling your stove or any appliances all the way out, the tile was just too heavy and it kept sliding down the wall, and it created what I call a smiley face. And you definitely don't want a smiley face if you're looking for straight lines. So what I did, if you have a drop off like this, I started putting nails at the bottom of each tile. I don't know if you can see that nail good. There it is. To hold the weight of the tile, and intermittently throughout the tile, I popped in more nails just to keep it in place until the mortar dried. So you can either put up a piece of wood at the same level, or once you draw your line, add your nails, and that will help hold your tile in place. Time for grout. So before you start your grouting process, you want to make sure that you remove all of your spacers. Once you've removed your spacers, you want to go ahead and wash your tile to make sure that if you have any residual mortar, that it's removed. And if you have any nails holding your tile up the way I had to do, just make sure that you carefully remove those too before the grouting process. Okay, so now I'm applying my grout. I decided to use the white grout because of the color of my cabinets will soon be white. So what you want to do, make sure this is good. Once you mix your grout up, you want it to be maybe just a little thicker than your mortar, and you want to be able to not drop it on the counter, but to press it in and work it in really good. I'm kind of applying this at an angle so that I can press it down into the grooves really well. Work it in really good and just slide it across. I find that working at an angle is best. And once you get it on, this is just for demonstration. I have a big sponge, and it's just damp. It's not wringing wet. I'm wringing it out. And you want to just kind of wipe at the same angle because you don't want to wipe your grout back out of the lines. And any place when I'm working and I find a spot that I may have taken too much out, I just kind of run a little bit back in with my finger and go back over it. And there you have it. You want to keep your water clean and change it often because you really want to try to clean as you go so that you won't have that haze left on your tile. The more you clean on the front end, it'll be the less that you have to do on the back end. And try to just work in small sections so you'll have enough time to really clean your grout and change your clean your tile, excuse me, and change your water to get the grout off of the tile. I absolutely love how my backsplash came out. That's one of the under cabinet lights that I put in just for that single side. But it really did make a difference in the overall look of our kitchen. I still have a couple of finishing touches. I have an actual piece of towel that's kind of preventing me from putting my outlet cover on straight, but I will take care of that this weekend. But I'm really pleased. I still have to add the under cabinet lights on this side, but overall I'm very pleased with the backsplash.